Hey everyone, sorry for the late video, but 2016 is already over and I really had to count down the top 25 best anime of 2016. And remember, this is my personal pick for 2016 best anime of the year. Unlike last time, I will be including sequels on this list as long as it's completed at least. So I won't be including Sangatsu's Line, which will and should have been on this list. But I decided not to leave it out because, oh well, it's still going. It's ongoing. It's like how leftovers. So I'm not really quite sure yet, but it would have been on the list if I was including it. Remember, it is my personal opinion, so it is an anime that I missed out on this list. There's a high possible chance that I have not watched it because I haven't seen everything, or either I just didn't simply put it on the list.
Beginning this countdown is from an old friend, or more rather, my friend's little sister, Love Live Sunshine. Now Love Live Sunshine may not have done much to differentiate itself from the original Love Live in terms of story progression and characters. Most of it was just the same, but it was actually executed better. It's funny how things I love in Sunshine is the same things I don't like too much about it. There's a lot of original Love Live references, which is a good and a bad thing because it ultimately sets the story up for Aquas to go on a journey to finding their footing in the idol world. Regardless of how the anime may be, the characters are still likable like the previous Love Live. At 24 is Murad Keller's Phantom World. Now, I know a lot of people will question or not whether this should have been here, but it is my list. Let me explain this. Phantom World was a really fun anime with an interesting concept. Sure, it lacked story, but even lacking story, it made up for its characters, which I seem to love them all. Not only that, I like how they explain the real life problems and also adding the element of fantasy to fix certain problems. It was an interesting concept on how fandoms exist in this world. But it probably could have been better if the show was a bit more focused. Of course, being done by Kyoto Animation, the animation was amazing. At 23 is Kamerion of the Iron Fortress. Humanity is in the brink of extinction. They must fight the so-called mutant creatures to survive, while also being inside civilization protected by walls. However, if that wall was to go down, the creatures will rampage through civilization. Sounds like the plot to Attack on Titan. Kamerion may have similar concept to Attack on Titan, but in the way he executes his initial story is much more engaging. Having a story about survival, adventure, and camaraderie makes this one exciting train ride. The anime has an amazing animation and soundtrack to go along with it. The spiritual successor of Attack on Titan may have not been as memorable, but it's still a pretty good anime. Number 22 is Tanika-kun is Always Listless. This is an anime about a high school boy who is very lucky to have good friends. Tanika is a very clever yet lazy boy. He literally tries to go through the day without trying too hard. It is always interesting to watch the daily life of Tanika and his friends enjoy themselves. It's quite satisfying to see how Tanika handles every situation in a lazy way. The atmosphere is really relaxing and is one of those animes that is really chill. Speaking of chill. Here it is, at number 21, the chillest anime of the year. It's Flying Witch. This is by far the most relaxing anime of the year for me. No dramas, no conflict, just pure, light-hearted, fun slice of life. Flying Witch feels like a true slice of life anime. With some supernatural elements, we follow the story of Makoto as she begins her new life in a quiet country town, and we see how the magical world interacts with the real world. The characters are fun to watch. Seeing the normal human characters interact and react to the supernatural world that lurks with them makes up for the most relaxing anime of the year. At 20 is Grimgar of Fantasy and Ash. At first, Grimgar feels like a typical protagonist getting transferred to a fantasy world kind of setting. However, I do like how the show is a bit more slow paced and has a realistic approach to it. The characters in this world aren't all powerful, they are normal humans who have to learn how to cope with the rough world, and they face every situation with a realistic mindset. The emotional growth of the party is interesting to watch. It is a really character-driven story anime to watch, watching them start off as naive, non-coordinated adventurers to a well-established coordinated team. I'm still yet to finish the first half of the second season, but Mobile Suit Gundam Iron Blooded Orphans is my 19th favorite anime of 2016. Iron Blooded Orphans is my first Gundam series and I can say I was rather impressed. I was surprised how well the characters were developed and seeing them go through a rough, rigorous journey made me feel with them. It was one hell of a trip watching the ambitious journey of these kids. The battles they fought were amazing, and I'm not normally a huge mech fan, but I can be converted. I think the way they mixed the mech battle with the political drama were very well executed. Number 18 is Snow White with the red hair. I never thought I would enjoy a shoujo anime as much as I did with Shirayuki. Watching the romantic development between the two leads, Shirayuki and Zen, was very fun to watch. Seeing the two fight and strive to gain one another's recognition without statuses in the way. A commoner and a prince trying to be recognized for their accomplishments and responsibilities makes this one interesting anime to watch. The supporting casts around the leads are a likable cast as well. Watching how they interact with each other is a blast. Osomatsu-san takes the 17th spot on my list. Was this show one of those forgotten shows because it was a fall 2015 leftover? Well anyways, Osomatsu-san continues its comedy brilliance with more wacky over-the-top humor. Yes, some of the jokes are cringy, but there are too many moments that I literally died of laughter. It takes on the Japanese culture and parodying of other anime genres made this one of the more stupid yet down-to-earth comedies of the year. The art style may not appeal to everyone as it is a show that was revived from the 1980s. I love the fact that the show was really aware of itself and made a story about a bunch of brothers trying to fit in with modern society. Osomatsu-san may have been forgotten by other people, but not by me. At Sweet 16 was one of 4's sleeper show of the season. It's Girlish Number. Girlish Number seems like your typical cute girl slice of life anime to begin with, however it is a great satire of the moe genre. The show is actually about a bunch of voice actresses dealing with their personal matters and juggling it with work. It is a great look at behind the scenes of anime as it shows the darker side of voice acting and the anime industry. We see what the girls have to go through, the things they are told to do in order to succeed in the industry. Our characters feel really down to earth and relatable, and it's a touching tale of starting from the bottom and battling in the dark industry to get recognition. Five more to the top 10. At 15 is my pick for the funniest anime of the year, which is Konosuba, God's Blessing on This Wonderful World. Konosuba came in early this year and kept its title of the funniest anime of 2016 throughout the whole year. Kazuma is one of the most likable trash because he's a genuine down-to-earth trash. Konosuba is just a great parody of the getting transported to a fantasy world genre, as it depicts the main character having to deal with incompetent teammates like some of us do in real life video games. The jokes in this show really relate to most people, and some of the dumb stupid things that happen in this show is just way too funny to ignore how true it is. The main cast is really likable and have unique characteristics that shine. Yes, the art looks bad sometimes, but the show seems to be very aware of that and uses the bad art to its advantage and incorporates it into its jokes. Konosuba, best comedy of 2016. Looking forward to season 2, which I am right now. Number 14 goes to Drifters, Fantasy's historical epic. Drifters takes the unique concept of taking heroes from the past and placing them into a new world. And I'm not talking about Fate. The way Drifters approaches characters is by putting them into another fantasy world and letting the characters decide what they want to do. Do they want to lead the world's people to victory or take over the world? First, let me just say the art and the animation, especially during the action scenes, are amazing to watch. The comedy is hilarious and they balance it very well with the serious tone of the show. The characters are likable and react in interesting ways as we get heroes from many different areas such as Nobunaga reacting to guns. The world and the lore is interesting and I cannot wait for another season of this brutal and funny anime. At unlucky number 13 is the brutal tragedy anime Magical Girls Raising Project. Magical Girl Raising Project is another dark take on the magical girl genre. Instead of a more psychological story, Raising Project is more of an action thriller. I love the death battle royale setting, I love how I was attempting to guess the outcomes and I was pretty much wrong at every corner, and that's a good thing. This show keeps you on your feet at all times. The show really makes you like the characters very well, it develops them well, and for that little moment before they meet their end. Probably the biggest Dark Horse anime of the year is here at my number 12 spot. Showa Genroku Rakugo Shinju was the forgotten anime of the winter season. Even though it wasn't as recognized, the people who did watch it experienced an amazing deep drama story. From the very start, we knew what the outcome of the story would be, we just didn't know how we got there. The story was very captivating and perfectly executed. The character development was very well done and made us care a lot for our main characters, right until the fatal tragedy. This may have not been the most entertaining anime, as it contains a medium of historical performance not meant for everyone, but that doesn't stop the fact that the story and character development were one of the most well executed in anime this year. Just missing out my top 10 is My Hero Academia. My Hero Academia is one of those animes where they use the formula that has been done many times. They are the perfect example of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This anime takes the classic shonen genre of an underdog story and executes it in a way where it almost feels nostalgic. It may not be that original or creative, but it's still entertaining and satisfying to the point where it's actually hard to point out any fault. It has a cast of fun and full of colorful characters. Like many shonens, this was just really a solid anime. Beginning the top 10 is the spiritual successor to One Punch Man, Mob Psycho 100. In all honesty, I enjoyed Mob Psycho 100 much more than One Punch Man, and I thought it was a better overall anime. The art style and the vivid animation makes it one of the best anime titles of 2016. The surprising themes about family and acceptance added a lot more to the story, making it for one interesting plot. The characters are really likable and fun to watch. All the fights in the anime were amazing to watch, and the animation just helps with that. I honestly reckon this show had the best fight scenes of the year. "91 Days" takes up the number 9 spot. Who would have thought Japan could execute a very well done Western mafia plot? This is probably the least anime on this list, as it feels really like a classic mafia movie in anime form. I like how the story really makes us care for both sides, whether we are on the main character side or his target side. They do a really good job of making us sympathize with the antagonist. The characters are fleshed out and are well developed. The Prohibition era is unique and interesting to follow. It just shows anime can be westernized. This show has such a good homage to classic gangster film, and I cannot wait for the dub to come out because I believe it deserves a dub. Imagine hearing those Italian/Chicagoan voices. At number 8 is Bungo Stray Dogs. This anime ended up becoming one of the most underrated anime of 2016. I thought the premise was cool, having many references to different authors and each character having similar powers to each author. The supernatural detective story gave me something I was looking for the whole year, an enjoyable detective story. The characters are fun to watch, seeing how each of them use their powers to fight and solve cases. The fight scenes were fun to watch and was animated very well. The comedy was really well done and I enjoyed this overall story a lot, especially when it got to the backstory of one of the major characters, which I thought it was one of the best done right, because it was one of the most impressive and enjoyable part of the show. My 2015 Anime of the Year takes the lucky 7th spot. Unfortunately, the 2015 Anime of the Year could not repeat. Shogeki no Soma's second season came back in 2016, giving us more wacky, over-the-top, intense cooking duels and recipes. It was a tournament arc giving us battles which the first season lacked. Each character's style and personalities brought so much charisma to the table. The creative tasting food guides and fantasies are still hilarious. The creative dishes the characters make always make me hungry all the time. The soundtrack still gets to me and keeps everything intense, because who would have thought cook-offs can be so intense? Despite it feeling rushed, this is still one of my favorite shows and series of all time. Just missing out my top 5 is Real Life. I felt like Real Life was probably the most forgotten anime of the year. Maybe because every episode came out on the same day, so there weren't many discussions on it. The slice of life drama touches on some deep themes, and when it comes to adulthood, I love the characters in Real Life and watching them grow up together while also dealing with regrets. For a drama show, this anime had some of the best comedy of the year. Their balance with comedy and drama was perfect. After the anime finished, I was asking for another season because the reveal at the end made me want more. I love how the characters interact with each other, especially the main character, Kaizeki, who's actually an adult, given the opportunity to repeat his last year of high school, and using his wisdom, he helps the others around him. I like the mature themes and characters Real Life gives us. Starting the top 5 is Erased. Now, I had it with the Erased haters. Just because the anime dropped in quality in the last few episodes doesn't mean that the first 3 quarters of it was amazing. Erase concept and very interesting story made it one of the most favorite anime of the year. The mystery, even though sort of obvious, was enough to keep me engaged, and watching the heartwarming themes of family and friendships had me very interested in the anime. The direction of the anime was very well done. In fact, I think it was the world's most directed anime of the year. The characters were interesting and we were able to sympathize with them very well. The overall hidden theme of the show was executed very well, even though it may have been a little bit cheesy. Overall, I still think Erase is a very well executed show. At number 4 is Haikyuu, which had 2 seasons this year, with a leftover from the fall 2015 season and having a 3rd season at the fall 2016. Haikyuu continued on giving us intense hype volleyball action. Haikyuu continues to be stellar with its animation and intense games while also developing its characters very well. Every game just gets better and better, and seeing the rivals make you feel like you're part of the journey with the team as well. The more I watch Haikyuu, the more I want to play volleyball because it really gets you into the sport. Every spike, every block, every set, you feel the intensity and effort the characters go through to play the game they love, and you sympathize with them when they win or lose. Haikyuu remains to be my favorite sports anime. Another familiar face from last year, coming all the way from the 2015 number 17 spot, begins my top 3, which is Assassination Classroom 2nd Season. Assassination Classroom 2nd Season fixed many of the problems I had with the first season, especially when it came to the development of Kora Sensei. Seeing the final semester with Class 3E was an emotional rollercoaster ride, as we learned life lessons and fought with Class 3E to the very end. The overall story was deep and meaningful, and the action comedy was good. I was surprised with how they handled some of the fight scenes because it was really well animated. Assassination Classroom edited on a very high and satisfying note, making it one of the most emotional anime of the year. It was a fun ride watching the Assassination Classroom grow together. The runner-up for anime of the year is probably the world most deserving of the hype. ReZero, starting life in another world. I just love how ReZero starts off as a generic protagonist, gets trapped into a fantasy world anime, but then kills our expectations by giving us one of the most suffering and brutal journey of a protagonist. This was definitely one of the most entertaining anime of the year. The amazing character developments from Subaru and Ren were one of the most heartwarming and best executed character growth I've seen in years. The emotional roller coaster ride of seeing Subaru suffer and restart over and over again got my gut wrenching for more week after week. The production on this anime, from the animation to the amazing soundtrack, just adds so much more overall feel to it. From the very beginning, I was hooked onto ReZero. It was my early prediction for anime year until the very last moment. Wait, what is this? Get this overrated show out of here! You're not even worthy for my top 25. Now to the real number 1. And finally, my 2016 animated year goes to Kyo's Animation Sound Euphonium 2. Sound Euphonium took my number 3 spot last year and is back taking it all. I honestly didn't think I would have loved season 2 as much as I loved season 1. The storytelling and drama was perfect. I felt very connected to all the characters and the development throughout the story. The animation and music is just drop dead gorgeous, the best animation of the year, while also having the best soundtrack of the year. Seeing the characters work so hard towards their goals while also dealing with personal problems make this one of the more touching and most emotional stories. From start to finish, I was immersed into the story and the characters from their very first performance to their final performance. And the show ended up with one of the most heartwarming confession scenes I did not expect it, which just added that much more impact to the overall story. It was a beautiful ride, worthy of being my pick for anime of the year. Congrats Sound Euphonium 2 for taking the biggest honor on my list.
Well, that is it for my top 25 anime of 2016. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. If you don't, give me a thumbs down. And we both go watch another video. And if you don't agree with the list, that is fine, because we're all entitled to our own opinion anyway. And by the way, guys, I'll see you guys soon. Sayonara.